Alright, today I'm going to walk you guys through my usual glute and hamstring leg day routine. I'm just going to video the exercises that I get the most glute and hamstring activation from and really feel when I do those exercises. So I'm going to record those and then I'm going to do a voiceover and talk a little bit more about each one so you guys really know how important form and everything is. So, yeah. Hey guys, I just wanted to do a voiceover for this workout because I really want to be able to explain each exercise and what groups of muscles it will target for me. And so for this exercise, I'm doing a single leg press, and I like to add this into my warm-up routine along with seated leg extensions and seated leg curls. For form on this movement, you want to place your foot up high and push through your heel. This will activate your glutes and hamstrings in the movement. For me, when I get tired, I like to allow my quads to take over, so I really have to make the mind-muscle connection to keep enforcing my glutes and hamstrings to complete the movement. So this next exercise is barbell hip thrusts, and this is one of my favorite glute activating exercises to do, and I highly recommend it. As you can see, I'm still kind of awkward with my form, but it's a work in progress. So for form, I like to have my feet out wide and toes pointed out, and you want to make sure to go slow and controlled in this movement. As you can tell, I need to work on going more slow on the way up in the contraction phase. But as long as you're really getting that squeeze in your glutes, you'll definitely feel it. And yes, I know it's an awkward movement, but it's definitely effective. So I would highly recommend adding this into your glute routine, or any leg day routine for that matter. So next we have elevated hip thrusts with a dumbbell. This is another variation of hip thrust that I like to add into my routine. And if you're a beginner, this is a little bit easier than just using a barbell, and it's easier on your hip bones as well. So for this movement, you want to make sure you stay on your heels, and you want to squeeze your glutes all the way up through the movement. And once you get to the top of the movement, you really want to make sure you're squeezing your glutes to engage them. This exercise will engage your glutes more than your hamstrings, but the next exercise that I'm doing is more hamstrings than glutes, so it balances out. On this one, I have to make sure that I don't start to engage my calf muscles to lift when I get tired. So it's really about that mind-muscle connection, and you really have to focus on squeezing your glutes and engaging those to lift the weight. This next exercise is the Swiss ball leg curl. This is something new that I just started trying, and I definitely get something out of it, so I'm going to add it into my routine. It's really awkward and it requires a pretty good amount of balance, so if you're a beginner, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this exercise. But if you think that you have pretty good balance, then you can go ahead and give it a shot. Again, another awkward movement, but very effective. You want to make sure your feet are wide set on the ball and you put all your weight on your heels. You want to make sure that you keep your hips high and really engage your hamstrings. This exercise is going to engage your hamstrings more than your glutes, but like I said, the exercise before this, I did more glutes and hamstrings, so it balances out. And you want to make sure that you're hitting all muscles on your legs or any area that you train for that matter, because you can't just focus on one specific area. This next exercise is elevated sumo squats, and this is again another very effective exercise for me anyways, and I really get a burn in my glutes and inner thighs from this one, so I really like to incorporate this into my routine for leg day. As far as form goes, I like to have my feet pointed out because this engages my glutes and my inner thighs, and I really feel the burn. And yes, you have to do this butt squeeze at the top. I know it's ugly and awkward, but that's how you engage your glutes and get the real burn out of this movement. I recommend being on an elevated surface because you can get a lower dip and a more range of motion in it. But if you don't have an elevated surface, you can just do it on the ground. This next exercise is easily my favorite glute exercise in my entire leg day routine, and these are cable kickbacks. I got my ankle strap for these off of Amazon for pretty cheap, but if you don't want to order one, you can just use the handles that the gym has, or if your gym has ankle straps, you can use those. For this exercise, I like to do 4 sets of 12. I like to do 6 standing more upright and then 6 bent over more. When I do this, it's because I feel like it hits all areas of my glutes without putting a strain on my back. For this movement, you want to make sure to be slow and controlled and really engage your hamstrings and glutes to pull the weight back. The way I'm gripping the machine allows me to have better balance and use my legs more than my arms to push the weight. I have my hand holding onto the one bar and then the other hand pushing against the machine. And this, once again, helps me to keep my form. And yeah. For this one, don't feel like you need to use a lot of weight. As long as you're feeling the burn in your glutes and you're getting something out of it, then it's working. I don't usually go super heavy on this, and I still feel a huge burn in my glutes every time. This last exercise is a curtsy lunge. I don't usually do these in my leg day routine, but I just started adding them in and I really like them, so I'm gonna keep them in my routine. For form, you want to make sure that you're sitting back into the lunge. As you can see, I could sit back even a little bit more. The reason I'm saying to sit back is so you can push through your heel to activate your glutes and hamstrings more than your quads when you're coming back up. And this will be more effective to hit the glutes and hamstrings rather than your quads, if that's what you're going for. For this, I'm just using a loaded barbell, but you can use dumbbells or even just your body weight if you want, as long as you're getting a good burn out of it. Alright, that's going to conclude this video. I hope it was helpful, and I hope you guys try these exercises and implement them into your leg day routines.